Hello everyone, welcome to course study on solid mechanics. In today's lecture we are going to discuss a new topic of unit number 6, and the title of that topic is equilibrium of the column, Euler's theory for the long column and its assumption made. Okay, so in case of equilibrium of the column we are going to discuss three equilibrium conditions. The first one is stable equilibrium, unstable equilibrium and the neutral equilibrium, and after that we are going to discuss the Euler's theory which are made for the long column and its assumption. So first of all we will discuss the equilibrium condition for the column. So first one is stable equilibrium. When axial load P is less than P critical, okay, then the column remains in a straight position and it undergoes only axial compression. So what does it mean? When our axial load P is less than the critical load, in that case the column remains in a straight position only. Okay, and for such a case the column will be under the axial compression only. It is only under the axial compression, and as soon as we remove the load the column returns to its original straight position. As soon as we remove the load the column returns to its original straight position. Okay, so mathematically the compressive stress can be given by P upon A. Oh sorry, here it is, instead of sigma it is P. Instead of sigma it is P. So the compressive stress can be given by P upon A, and the unit is Newton per mm square. And this particular stable equilibrium condition is shown in figure A. This is the figure A. In that particular figure, a column which is hinged at both the end, which has a length L, okay, and it is subjected to an axial compressive load of P. Due to that axial compressive load, the column will be under axial compression only. Okay, and as soon as we remove that particular load the column regain its original position. So it is the stable equilibrium. The second equilibrium condition is neutral equilibrium. When we go on increasing the load P gradually, the column may have bent shape. Okay, and in that case the P will become, the value of axial load will become critical load. The value of P becomes P critical. Okay, and as soon as we remove the load the deflection does not disappear. This is the condition of neutral equilibrium. So what does it mean? When we go on increasing the load P gradually, okay, the column will start buckling laterally. Okay, and it will occupy a bend shape, it will acquire a bend shape. Okay, and as soon as we remove that particular load the column does not regain its original position, the column remain in a bend shape only. Okay, therefore for neutral equilibrium our value of P is equal to critical load. Okay, and it has been shown in figure number B. P is equal to P critical. The third equilibrium condition is unstable equilibrium. Again, when we go on increasing load P gradually, then P will become greater than the P critical. Okay, and the column deforms more with the increase in load, and at higher values of P column collapses. Okay, so it means that when we go on increasing the load P gradually, that particular axial load becomes greater than the critical load. Okay, and it will be in the deformed shape, and as again we go on increasing the load P the column will collapses. Okay, and that can be shown in figure number C. That can be shown in figure number C. Okay, this is all about the equilibrium of column. Now we are going to discuss the Euler's theory for the long column. Okay, remember that Euler's theory for the long column is applicable for the long column only, not for the short column. So the first condition is long column will fail only because of buckling or the bending. As it is a long column, the failure of that particular column will take place only because of bending. Okay, as it fails due to the bending, it considers the effect of bending stresses only. Effect of compressive load or the direct stresses are neglected. Okay, so for the long column we are going to consider the effect of bending stresses only. We are neglecting the values of direct stresses. Okay, so this is the second condition. Third one is lateral dimension will be quite small as compared with the length of the column. So this is the definition of column itself. For the column, length must be greater than the lateral dimension of that particular cross section. Okay. Fourth one is load carrying capacity reduces with increase in the length of the column. It means that when we go on increasing the load, then its load carrying capacity go on reducing. Okay. The buckling stresses will be small. With a small load, buckling will take place. Okay. And the last theory for the long column is this theory does not use for the short column. So as discussed in the first point, it is only applicable for the long column, not for a short column. Okay, so this is all about the theory of long column. Now we are going to discuss the assumptions which are made for the long column. The first assumption is the column will be initially perfectly straight and the load will be applied axially. That is, load will not be eccentric. So whatever the load, actual load we will applied, it must pass through the centroidal axis of that particular column. Okay, therefore it will be called as a axially loaded column and the load will not be eccentric. Okay, the second assumption is material of the column will be perfectly elastic, homogeneous and the isotropic. Okay, so perfectly elastic, homogeneous and isotropic is the second assumption. Third assumption is column material must be stressed within the elastic limit. Okay, and as it is stressed within the elastic limit, it follow the principle of Hooke's law. Okay, so when any material is stressed within the elastic limit, so it follows the Hooke's law. The fourth assumption is column should be prismatic. Column should be prismatic means the cross section of the column will remain uniform throughout the length of the column. Okay, so there will be no change in the cross section of that particular column. If the cross section of column remains same throughout its length, then it will be considered as a prismatic column. Okay, the fifth assumption is direct stresses developed in the column will be very small as compared with the bending stresses. Okay, as it is a theory for the long column, so the bending stress will be more than the direct stress. Okay, remember that direct stress will take into effect for the short column only, it is not for the long column. The sixth assumption is length of the column will be very large as compared with the other dimension of the column. Okay, seventh one, self weight of the column will be negligible. Euler had neglected the own weight of the column. So to derive the assumption for the Euler theory, we have to neglect the self weight of the column. In the assumption, Euler have not considered the self weight of the column. Okay, but it's an assumption only. There is nothing in the nature which has zero weight, which is weightless. Okay, so it's an assumption only, hypothetical only. And the last assumption is column will fail by buckling alone. The failure of column, as it is a long column, the failure must be due to the buckling only, not due to the direct stress or the axial stress. So this is all about the assumptions which are made for the Euler's theory. Okay, and the last topic of this particular today's lecture is sign conventions for the bending moment. Okay, so first one is positive bending moment. First one is positive bending moment. A bending moment which bends the column so as to produce the convexity towards the initial center line of the member will be considered as a positive bending moment. Okay, so it is shown in figure A. This is the figure A. It is shown in figure A, and positive bending moment is nothing but the column produces the convexity towards the initial center line of the member. Okay, so this AB, it is the initial center line of the column. Okay, and when it is subjected to external load P, the column will bend in this particular form. The column will bend in this particular form. So it is known as, it is the convexity towards the initial center line. It is the convexity towards the initial center line. Okay, so when the bending of that particular column takes place in such a manner, in this particular manner, then it is considered as a positive bending moment. Okay, now we will discuss the negative bending moment. A bending moment which bends the column so as to produce the concavity towards the initial center line, then it will be considered as a negative bending moment. It is shown in figure B. Okay, now again this AB, it is the initial center line of the column. When it is subjected to external load P, okay, that particular column will bend in this particular form, and it is known as concavity towards the initial center line of the member. Okay, so while solving the numerical, we are going to use this sign convention for considering the bending moment. Okay, so this is all about the sign convention for the column. Okay, Euler's theory for the long column, assumption which we have made for the Euler's theory, and the equilibrium condition of column. Okay, so we will stop here. In the next lecture, we will go through the strength of column concept, types of the end condition, and the derivations for the Euler's formula, that we are going to discuss in the next lecture. So we will stop here. Thank you.